Hello! I am so excited to be here along with these fantastic women who I will introduce in a second. Thank you so much for that crazy long bio. Very exciting. When the girls asked me to moderate, I was kind of in shock. I was like, me for the startup panel? That's insane. But I think so much of what we're doing today is talking about how we created these brands and businesses and where they started. I know for me, I've been an actress my whole entire life. I started doing musical theater when I was 6 years old, and so that's pretty much the only life I know is performing and doing characters. So the last year and a half, I've kind of stumbled into this world of entrepreneurship and this whole like incredible boss babe community. And it's been the greatest, most incredible thing in my life. I've learned so much. I've learned so much from a lot of the women here. Ashley and Stephanie and Vanya were like the first people that had my back to be like, here's what you need to do. We're gonna help you, which I think is so much what it's all about as well, is just sisterhood and building community. So I'm excited to be able to speak to these three powerhouse babes today, and I'm going to give them their special little bios. So first we have Christine Yee. Christine translates her background in management consulting and retail and apparel strategy to her work in co-founding POTLI, a premium cannabis and hemp-infused ingredients company. Passionate about all things wellness and brand, Christine is motivated by creating healthier, more intuitive ways to consume cannabis. So say hello to Christine. Yay! And next to her is her incredible partner, Felicity Chen, who is a third-generation food manufacturer and former employee at Uber Eats and MealPal. Wow, I need to pick your brain on all that since I'm a Uber Eats person. Passionate about food and new ways to eat it, Felicity co-founded POTLI as a way to create a cannabis product that her asthmatic and Asian immigrant mother can consume. So hello, Felicity! So happy to have you here. And last but not least, we have the gorgeous Anne McFerran, born in Bangkok, Thailand. Anne immigrated with her single mother to America when she was 7 years old. After graduating from UCLA, she was a full-time fine artist for several years, selling abstract and pop art commissions worldwide. In the meantime, she also grew her passion for business, makeup, and social content. When she saw a gap in the beauty market for magnetic lashes that actually worked, she developed affordable lashes in the styles that she would personally wear. Within a year after teaching herself everything from product development to marketing, GLAMNETIC was born July 2019. Now, listen to this. 6 months since launch, GLAMNETIC is now generating 7 figures in monthly revenue. Wow. Welcome, Anne. Well, I'm so excited to be here and moderate this panel and be able to talk to you guys, because my whole thing when starting Asian American Girl Club was I would just straight up in the car listen to podcasts with women like you and how are you doing? And what I realized is every person's journey is so different and so unique, because we think, oh, they're just out there and they know exactly what to do. But I think a lot of the reason why these panels are so important is because we realize that we're all just out here like trying to figure it out together. So I'm excited to, why don't we introduce ourselves? Where did you guys start? What led you here? And how long have you had your startup? Start with you.
Yeah, so hi guys, my name is Christine Yee. I'm the co-founder of POTLI along with Felicity. And although Felicity and I are co-founders, and she's literally the only other person in the world who knows what it's like to kind of start this business and the journey that we've been through, I think it's still fascinating because as co-founders, our journeys still have been very different and unique all on its own. But we started POTLI in 2017. At that time, I was still working in management consulting, so kind of this like traditional white collar. I was kind of flying every week to a different client kind of thing, and on the weekends I would fly to San Francisco. I was working in New York at the time. I'd fly to San Francisco and Felicity and I would work on this idea. And our idea was really trying to make cannabis more accessible and friendly. So when you think about the edibles category, you primarily think about like cookies, gummies, chocolates, sweets, and things like that. But I don't eat gummies every day. So, but are there ways that we can consume cannabis that are intrinsically healthier and easier to integrate into your daily routine? So I remember flying into San Francisco on the weekend. We would be testing formulations because we all had to do it on our own, so we'd be testing these formulations. We'd later go and like take notes about, you know, what the strain was like or whatnot, and then we would go back and look at the notes, and like none of it made any sense because we were so high. But, you know, it's one of those funny things,
One
you know.
of the perks of the job.
Yeah, I mean, we founded this as a passion project, and we kind of stumbled upon it, and then it's become the company and the vision that it's become, so I'm incredibly proud of that, but yeah.
That's amazing. I want your job, guys. And what about you?
Yeah, I was, while Chris was doing management consulting, I was at Uber Eats. I was on the launch team, and so my job was to go out there in the Bay Area, where I'm born and raised, and to sign up as many restaurants as possible to use the platform. And I did the same thing for MealPal. And before that, I was at Guild.com. And when I had come back from college, from Boston University, where Chris and I were randomly paired freshman year roommates in college, it was fate that we...
So you guys lived together?
Yeah, for
Yes.
3 years.
3 years?
We have no boundaries.
Wow, so you know
We still
everything
don't.
about
Everything.
each other.
Clearly, we don't have any boundaries.
No.
Still. When I had come back from college and came home and was living at my parents', I realized that I had been replaced. My dad had started beekeeping for my mother because she's an asthma patient, and hyperlocal honey is really wonderful for allergies, which is what's stimulating her asthma and making it worse. And so this honey was incredible. In fact, when Chris tried it for the first time, she was like, whoa, I've been eating fake honey my entire life. And it was something that was ritualized. It was something that my mom ate every day because it's helpful for her. And as a child of an immigrant, I'm Chinese, there's no way I was ever going to smoke a joint with my mom, especially because she has asthma. And so I was like, let's put some weed into this honey. and that's how POTLI was born.
Did you tell her?
No, honestly, the first time my mom tried, I didn't tell her. And then after she tried it, she was like, and I asked her, Mom, like, what did you think of the honey? There's cannabis in it. And she was like, I know. I was like, then why didn't you say anything? Anyway, so that's how we started. From there, we expanded into olive oil, chili oil, apple cider vinegar, sriracha, all things that you can ritualize into your daily wellness routine. All of our ingredients are sourced from Northern California because that's where we're born and raised. It's really important for us to, you know, keep that carbon footprint small, but also celebrate the incredible ingredients that are just around us. We're so lucky to be in California with access to such incredible ingredients and products that are delicious, and that's what we want to spread to the entire world. So, yeah.
That may be one of the best stories I've ever heard. Thank you. And what about you, Anne?
Yeah, so like you said, I moved here from Thailand when I was 7 with my mom, and we moved to a little small town in Northern California called Manteca. No one's ever heard of it. There's a bunch of cows, more cows than people. And so I grew up in a really small town, and the reason why I moved to LA was because I got into UCLA. I was actually a pre-med major, graduated with a degree in psychobiology, and was completely confused when I graduated because now I'm so in debt now, and I didn't want to go into the medical field. So I was like, okay, so how am I gonna make money? And I had been doing art my entire life. And so I was like really hustling to try to see if I can get any gigs in the art world. And then I secured my first commission for like $5,000. And I was like, wow, I like made it. Like I was like, I think I can actually take this as a real career and be fearless with it. So fast forward 3 years, I had like shown at like LA Art Show, like big conventions, and like sold my art internationally. But I kind of felt really unfulfilled because I was feeling really lonely because I was spending every single day in my studio by myself, didn't talk to a single soul the whole day, would just be painting. And I was like, this is not something that I can do for the rest of my life. And it just felt more like work now than it did something that was like gratifying for my heart. So in parallel, like while I was doing art, I was always like networking and like talking to a bunch of different people because I was always curious to see what other people were doing, because it was kind of like a way for me to figure out if maybe I would like to do something else. I was always like constantly curious and asking a million people different questions. And I was really fortunate to have met like really, really successful people in the e-com world. That kind of like sparked my interest in getting into e-com. And so I thought about like what kind of product I would kind of do. I had always been obsessed with lashes ever since I was really young, because it was a way for me to fit in or feel like I fit in, because I look so different from everybody else. My town was like, everyone was white. And when I put lashes on, it felt really beautiful. So that's kind of how I started getting into, starting GLAMNETIC. So lashes were kind of like a conduit for me to feel more confident. And that's kind of where our slogan, be magnetic, be glamnetic, comes from, is like when you wear lashes, you feel beautiful. And when you feel beautiful, you radiate beautiful energy, you become more of a magnetic, confident person. When I was thinking about lashes, I was like, this is very difficult to put on. Everybody struggles with applying lashes. And at that time, magnetic lashes were kind of a thing, but they really sucked. There was like maybe 3 magnets max on them. They were really, really thin. They were plasticky, they were really fake looking. And I was like, why can't magnetic lashes be glam and full and come in like several different types of styles as like normal lashes could? And so I kind of like plunged into product development without having any background. Like I didn't even work a 9-to-5 job a day in my life before. And I was like, I'm gonna just try to start this. And I just taught myself product development. And a year later, GLAMNETIC was born. And now we have the world's first 6-magnet lash, the world's first colored magnetic lashes, and it all magnetizes to a magnetic eyeliner, which the reason why it's magnetic is because it has iron oxide, and iron oxide is magnetic.
Okay, now I know. I was like backstage, like, how does it work? You have to tell me and everyone here.
Yeah, but most people probably don't even know what iron oxide is, but it's actually found in like all colored cosmetics, but it's actually magnetic because it has iron properties in it, and it's safe. It's FDA approved. Everyone's concerned. So yeah, basically, it's been 8 months now since I've launched GLAMNETIC, and it's just been like crazy ride. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. And you talk about being lonely, and I resonate so much with that, because I think starting Asian Man Girl Club was something for me to find community. I think acting is the same. Sometimes you're on set for 12 hours. Most of the time you're just sitting there alone with your character in your mind, hoping you're doing it right. And so I think I was searching for something too, just like you were, and I think entrepreneurship is such a great place because it is so community driven.
Yeah.
So I resonate with you, girl. Was there someone who or what gave you guys the push and or confidence to start this business? Was there anyone specifically that you did it for, or was there something, a moment that you were like, this is it? Can you guys speak on that a little bit?
I think that the person who inspired me to start the business was myself. Not to sound
yes, girl.
crazy and vain,
but
I mean, like, when you rationalize it, what do you have to lose? You know, like, what truly do you have to lose? Especially if you're starting it as, a passion project or a side hustle, and there's nothing that you have to give up. You don't have to give up your financial security. Like, I fully encourage people to, work on their side hustles for as long as they possibly can, until they're like, it doesn't make sense for me to do both, I'm gonna take the plunge. But you don't have to take the plunge today. You don't have to do it tomorrow. You could do it a year from now, 2 years from now, but there's really nothing stopping you from starting what it is that you want. So I think it's just that rationalization, I think, that really got me, at least, to be motivated to start POTLI.
I love that. And about you, Felicity?
I went into POTLI full-time first, and so it was a pretty lonely journey, and I feel like I really wouldn't have been able to do it if I wasn't calling Christine basically every night, being like, we're gonna go under. So, I mean, it's just great to have a co-founder, because it's so lonely, like you were talking about. It is really lonely. There's no one that really understands your business like anyone else. No one can advise you on what's happening. Your friends, they're more and more, they're going to understand less and less of your world and everything that's going on in it. And it's really great that I can call Chris at the end of the day and be like, this was all wrong, but it's gonna be okay, I think. And the second person that I think really pushed me to start the business is, of course, my mom. It's the reason why we started our business. My mom was our first check into POTLI. She is always like, you know, she's there when we're like, oh no, we just lost one of our manufacturing people. And she's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna help you come put stickers on. You know, she's super supportive, and she's an awesome person, and just, yeah, the reason why we do what we do.
We love moms. My mom just retired. She goes, now that I don't have a job, do you think I could work for AAGC? I was like, Mom, sure you can do. She's like, I'll pack boxes. I'll do social media. I'm like, Mom, you don't know how to do Instagram. She's like, I will learn. So we love our
so
moms.
cute.
They're so cute. And how about you, Anne?
I feel like I started GLAMNETIC because I was kind of fed up with myself and like not feeling like I was ever fully committed to one thing. I was just like feeling like I was hopping around to multiple things. Like I was doing art, but I was also trying to like trade stocks. I did that for like 2 years, and then I like was trying to do Amazon FBA, and then I was like had another Shopify store, and I was like I just need to like focus on one thing, and I kind of just felt like I wasn't super passionate about like one particular thing, and I knew like in my soul like I was a passionate person, and there's just something missing. Like I wasn't quite fulfilling or meeting my purpose. So I think it just came out of like an emotional like response of, you need to do something, girl. Like you need to commit to one thing, or else like you're gonna be 80 and you're gonna just look back on your life and feel like you didn't do anything with it. I don't know. That's just the way that it was sort of just like an emotional response where I was like, I'm fed up with myself.
I feel like it takes a lot of that back and forth, though. I don't know in your guys' journey, but I mean, I was the same. I was like, I'm not good at anything, and I would just try everything. I was like the activities girl, and I drop out of everything. But I think it does take that in order to find out what is your passion. I mean, I don't know many people that are just like, this is it, this is what I want to do. It takes a while. So I think that kind of lonely journey that you're talking about is so relatable and something that a lot of us struggle with. Was there a breakthrough or like benchmark moment where you just realized that maybe this business was gonna have legs and you guys were onto something? Should we start in the middle?
Sure. I mean, it was really apparent. I had a super incredible opportunity at MealPal to launch the app in Singapore, and like if they told me 3 months ago, like I would have hopped on the plane the next day. But at that same time, it was when we, as POTLI, were awarded our cannabis licenses and permits to manufacture and distribute. And it was kind of like, well, I have this license. There's this opportunity I really want to go to, and I have to like pick one. And I'm like, I think I have to do my thing. So I quit. And it was just so crazy because if they told me like 2 or 3 months ago, I would have been there in a heartbeat. And I really like thought about it for a really long time, but at the end of the day, it was like we were awarded one of the first licenses in California to operate our business, and we're like, okay, it's time to go. We need to like really do this, and so that's when I was like, sorry, yeah.
That's so cool. And how did you, were you there in that moment, or what was happening in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for sure it was kind of like, do we do this or not? This is a full commitment. Not a lot of people are going to be legally licensed to operate. But I think for me, the breakthrough moment was something a little bit quieter in that our first batch of honey, I'd gotten to my best friend's mom, and she took it. And the next day, I got a call where she was basically saying, this is the first time in 4 years that I slept through the night without waking up. And that meant so much to her, and it meant so much to me. And really just when you know your product works and is making a difference in someone's life, nothing else really matters. You're like, I have something here, I want to be able to help other people. And so I think for me, just seeing how that product resonated with a customer was really the most exciting, so.
I totally agree. Sometimes even just one comment of someone and how it impacts their life, like even with AAGC, the comments mean so much, and the messages
really
that
do.
it can mean, like one person could really be like a million in your mind, you know? So that's amazing. How about you, Anne?
Yeah, I think on a similar note, I had shown the product to a bunch of my friends, and they were like quite amazed because they'd never seen anything like it. And then when we had our first launch day, I mean, we did like $1,000 in sales the first day, which was actually quite a bit for having no following or whatsoever. We didn't really promote it at all. And then all of the customers kind of DMing me and be like, oh my God, like this is like the first time I've ever been able to apply lashes in my life. And they were like really obsessed. So I was like, wow, that's really amazing. And then on the first month of we were in business, Dolls Kill reached out and wanted to carry us on their site. And I love Dolls Kill, so I was like, that's amazing. I didn't even know how to put together like a proper like PO to give to them, because I was like, I don't even know how to, you just like figure stuff along the way. And then like one of the girls that I photographed, because I learned professional photography because I learned everything when I was like in GLAMNETIC. I basically taught myself like professional photography, social media, like everything. So one of the girls that we shot, she like wore GLAMNETIC for like 4 months straight. And that was the only lashes she ever wore. And that was kind of like perfect feedback for me to be like, this thing like really has legs. And then kind of just like along the way, we kind of had data points where, we were doubling our growth month over month until, we hit $1 million a month in sales in January. And that was when we were like, I think now our goal is to kind of be the fastest growing lash brand in the world at this point.
Wow, that's amazing. Manifesting it right here. It's gonna happen, guys. So if you could go back to your newly college graduated selves, what advice would you tell yourself? We love a little self-reflection here.
Like I said earlier, I think that you need to talk to every single person. I was talking to like Uber drivers and asking them what they were doing during their day. I was like, so what's your other job? Because I just wanted to know like what other hustles I could do. Because I was like, I thought about being an Uber driver. I was like, I want to make money on the side because I was being, I was an artist, and so you kind of just have to be really scrappy with the way that you make money. I literally had like tried and done like everything. And it was such a hustle. Like I traded crypto, like everything. So I literally talked to anyone that I could find, and it was usually people who were like 10 years older than me, so like 30 plus at the time. I was like 20, and I would just like at the club, I would kind of like meet a random dude and then just like talk to him for an hour, asking him random questions about what he did with his job and his life, because guys love talking about themselves. And you girls, you ladies need to like take advantage of that, because they'll tell you like all of the tips that you need to know. Because some girls might not, I don't know, girls sometimes like can be like catty towards each other, so they might not necessarily share that tip, but with guys, they're just like an open book. They'll tell you like how they got their IPO, like anything, right? They'll tell you everything. And so I kind of just use that to my advantage, and I met so many guys and so many girls too in LA, and they just, especially people who are like super, super successful in e-com. I met so many CEOs, and I just like would sit down with them for hours and just ask them a million questions, and people love talking about themselves. So it's kind of like, just take that to your advantage, and that this is a way for you guys to figure out like what you want to do. Like I talked to a real estate agent. I was like, that's probably not what I want to do. And then I talked to like people that, like just so many different types of careers, but the reason why I started GLAMNETIC was I literally talked to so many e-com people, and I was like, that sounds super fun, and that's something that I want to do. I want to build stuff.
That's awesome. I love that you're having your own TEDx conference at the club.
That's some great advice.
Anything you guys would tell your
newly
newly college graduate self?
Post-grad, I'm sure everyone has gone through like super lost, and I would feel really anxious around certain things. Like, and my advice is really like, if there's anything you're anxious about, lean in and try to figure out why you kind of you just don't like to talk about it, or it's not something that you want to do because you're just like, I'm not good at it. Like, if you feel that way about something, like observe it and like try and get better. There's so many resources online like YouTube or like Udemy, or just there's so many ways to get better at something that you're nervous about. Like, when you identify you're like not good at something, like lean in and get better at it. And one example is, for me, like it was writing. I was always like, I can write a million of emails and whatnot, but I never felt confident in my creative writing. It wasn't until like last year that I started writing every single day. I write 3 pages every morning, and that's been this like great way for me to like get over that anxiety. That like, why didn't I just do that earlier? Why I could have like been so much better at it, but now I'm kind of playing catch up. So it's like, post-grad, I was definitely in a place where it's like everything would make me anxious and everything would like make me feel nervous, and I wouldn't go after it because I felt anxious about it, so I would just shy away. But like if there's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, like observe it and try to make it better.
I love that. You want to
Yeah.
take us home here?
Yeah, I have two quick things. One is just always ask people for help. And I think you guys have touched on it a little, but I feel like as females, we often just don't ask. Just ask. Be like, will you make this intro? Will you give me this advice? What do you think about this? And just keep asking those questions, and people are more than willing to help. I've met a lot of people at events like this on stage. I'll go up and I'll be like, you know, who do you mentor? Are you a mentor? And they say, you know, I'd love to be a mentor, but no one ever asks me, which I find so crazy. So don't be afraid to ask, because, you know, the worst that can happen is someone says no. You can DM me on Instagram if I can ever be a sounding board for you or help you or anything, like,
I'm
for
going to
real.
DM you.
And the second thing is just remember that the worst thing that you can do with your potential and the skill set that you have is to be the hired help for someone else's dreams. I think that hits different for someone who's been working a few years as well, not just like right after graduation. Don't be the hired help for someone else's dreams. Really ask yourself, what is my dream? I'm gonna hire myself. You know, I'm gonna hire my goddamn self, and I'm gonna make my own dreams come true, you know? And I'm gonna be my own employee and my own employer. And that might not mean that you're starting your own business, right? But, you know, if you are working within a company to fulfill like a specific skill set or a goal that you're trying to work to, that's amazing. But you just have to make sure that that goal is aligned with what it is that you really want. So
I love this. I feel like I need you guys. Can I keep you every day? You in
Please.
the morning.
I'm gonna jump in your pocket and I'll
Yes.
just
and
pull
then
me out.
you'll be midday for lunch, and then I'll go to the club with you at night, and we'll
Sounds good.
we'll have our own TED conference. I think we have time for one or two questions from the audience. If no, we don't have time. Is that what you're saying? One question. Okay, we have one question so that you guys can go to lunch. Right here in the front.
Hi, thanks for all the great information you guys gave today. I know one barrier to entry is the startup of production costs. How did you guys navigate all the initial costs that might have been involved with legal, acquiring product and manufacturing and all that kind of stuff?
That's a really good question.
It depends on the industry, right? So it depends on the good that you're trying to produce, whether you have to do it domestically or internationally. Is it something that you can produce on your own? So it's hard to answer. We can talk after that if that's helpful. But I think that a barrier to entry for a lot of people is like, I don't have $100,000 to do a production run. And I think just making, like saying what it is that I need to make myself and what it is that I can outsource, and just running through that calculation, because there probably are things that you can do yourself and piece together, and just being mindful of like what those like big costs are, and just like making that calculation. I know that's like not a very good answer, but I think that there are ways that you can work around all the different pieces of production you need. So for example, you might not buy custom packaging. You might literally go to like Kinko's, print out stickers and put them on something a la carte. But then in terms of doing the production for like whatever good you're doing, I'm sure that there is like a kitchen or like a contract manufacturer that is willing to do a small batch for you. So there are creative ways around it. And then you can also, you know, maybe work out some contracts where you are paying post 30 days. If that gives you enough time to actually sell the inventory and pay them back, then that's something you can do. There are also a lot of contract manufacturers that will like take equity in your company and upfront all the costs for production. So there are different types of partnerships that you can take on, and just look for people whose incentives are aligned with yours.
I can answer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Go.
So for GLAMNETIC, we started with just 100 units of each lash. We only started with like 5 styles. I just wanted to test to see how it would do. I think that's what you should do, is start with a very, very small production run, and then you can always go on pre-order. Because when you go on pre-order, you can collect the money up front, and then, you know, they know that it's going to be like a 2-month pre-order or whatever. And that's kind of how you can like not put so much money up front. And then another big thing, and the most important thing about running a brand, is content. So be a really, really good creator of content, because then if you don't outsource the creation of content, you're saving like thousands of dollars. I was like lucky enough to have had like an artistic background, so content came really easy for me, and I think that's where GLAMNETIC saved the most money. And I was like the only employee in I was the only full-time employee of GLAMNETIC for the first 5 months, and we were doing like up to $500,000 a month at that time. And I was just kind of like refusing to outsource anything, or at least like hire full-time work, until I was like 100% sure that I understood how to do every piece of the business. And I would just honestly like invest your own money. Like, don't take investment money, because then now you have somebody else in your business that's telling you what to do, and then you're giving a piece of your company away. And in the future, when your business starts doing really well, then you kind of like kick yourself like, wow, I didn't really need their investment. I could have just put my own money in. Like, just believe in yourself and like work really hard. That's like.
I love that, and
Yeah.
I very much agree with that. Well, I know we got to send you guys off to lunch, but thank you to these three incredible women. We're going to be following your brands and your businesses, rooting you on, and thank you guys so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.